How about good morning? Woo! Alright, here we go. Hope everyone's doing alright. So today I wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about? I knew it a moment ago. Feelings, and emotions, the difference between them, and how to, or the best way to process them, to experience them, so things like that. Alright, so that's what we're going to talk about today. This video may not be that long. There's only so much I can say about it. Feelings are actually interpretations of the mind, the brain. And emotions come from within your soul. It's what your soul holds. And the brain interprets that, and you get a feeling from it. So, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because emotions and feelings are actually used interchangeably. And I'm not sure, well, obviously I'm not sure why people are doing it. I guess because they don't understand it. But they use them, interchangeably, and it's like, it don't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. So, right now everyone's saying, not everyone, but a lot of the New Age movement, trust your feelings, get in touch with your feelings. And it's like, well, do you understand that your feelings are coming from your mind, your brain? And so we're completely bypassing the soul. Like, we're not acknowledging the soul. And so what happens is, when the soul has an emotion or feels an emotion, the brain is going to interpret that, and you're going to get a feeling from it. That's what's going to happen. So when you go on, like, for myself, like, I used to go on roller coasters. Well, roller coasters, it's an experience. And so there's an emotional experience attached to it. So this is why people are either fearful or excited. They feel joy, or they feel all kinds of whatever feelings that they get from it. But it's based on an emotion within their soul. And so the brain is interpreting that, and then that's where the feeling is coming from. So people will say, nope, I feel lots of terror. Well, that's because there's an emotion locked in them, within their soul, that's interpreting that feeling of fear. And that's what people don't want to experience. And so this is the problem with the New Age thing, is they're like, just feel love, and we can manufacture, at the video that I just made yesterday, actually, we manufacture these feelings. But the thing is, we create experience so that we can have a feeling. So every experience that you have, or that we have, is going to trigger something within us that we either like or don't like, that we feel is loving or unloving, and it's going to translate into a feeling. That's it. That's all we're doing, is we are controlling what we feel by controlling what we do. And this is what addictions are. So if you have anxiety about certain things, like you're uncomfortable around people, then what you're going to do is you're going to create an experience so that you can have a certain feeling, a specific feeling. So some people who have anxiety, they carry something around with them, whether it's, some people use paper clips, some people use rocks, little trinket, whatever it is, and they start rubbing it in their hand. And the only reason why they're doing that is because they need to have a different feeling than the one that they're experiencing from being around people. Does that make sense? I hope so. It's not like you can ask me questions right now, but you can, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'm more than happy to answer them. So that's what's happening. Emotions are soul-based, and that's why people ignore them. They're like, I don't want to focus on those emotions. I don't want to focus on the experiences that I've had in the past because it makes me feel a certain way. That's it. That's why we ignore all the traumatic experiences that we've experienced in the past, because it brings up emotions that are translated into feelings that we don't want to feel. Understand? This is why it's so important to access these emotions, these locked up experiences that are within the soul. The soul does not forget. It will not ever forget a painful emotion until it's released. Once it's released, then the brain can recall, like you can recall the event, and you won't have any emotional reaction to it because the emotion has been released already. You have to release it. Release it. Let it go. Not let it go forget about it. Let it go experience it. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Your emotions. The events that have taken place in the past. You don't want to live in those emotions. What you want to do is experience them. So you don't just want to think back on experiences that make you feel sad. You want to think about them so that you can release the emotion. You want to feel what happened and release it. So if something caused you pain, then you need to feel that pain. You need to you need to experience the pain by releasing that emotion. Since the emotion is in you, you have to experience it. And what most people do, including myself on certain things, what we do is we think about it, we feel sad about it, we feel defeated about it, we feel all kinds of things about it, but we never cry about it. We never release the emotion. And so that's why we keep having the same crappy feelings, because we haven't released the emotion. The emotion is soul-based, and it affects the body, the physical body. And this is what people don't want to experience. Emotions affect the physical body, and that's what we don't want to feel. But some emotions are great. Some emotions are amazing. So we can feel happy when let's say we meet someone, right? And we're like, oh, I feel happy, it's blissful. It's a feeling of the mind. But then you can meet someone and you have butterflies in your stomach. That is an emotional response. You're like, oh my gosh, I have this feeling of I can't explain. It's like butterflies in my stomach. That is an emotion. It is affecting the body. And so when you cry, it's affecting the body. And so when we feel sad about things and we don't have a physical reaction to it, it's only a feeling of sadness without the emotion being touched. This is the difference. This is why it's so important to cry. I was talking to a young man yesterday, actually, and he was saying, he was asking me about my new year and all that stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's going great, starting out okay, and I said, what about yours? He goes, man, I'm kind of nervous, I have to meet with my probation officer or parole. I think it's probation officer. He said probation officer tomorrow. I may get locked up, because, I've been bad. I'm like, well, what have you been doing? He goes, just doing bad stuff. I go, like, he goes, oh, he may test dirty. And so, being that he was a young guy, I figured he's not messing around with alcohol too much. He's smoking weed. That's what, that's just what they're doing these days. So, he goes, yeah, smoke weed. So I asked him, I said, well, why are you smoking? Why do you feel the need to smoke weed? He goes, and straight out, he goes, like depression, man. He goes, like, I'm depressed. And I'm like, this guy knows the problem. He just doesn't know how to fix it. He doesn't know how to process it. He doesn't know what's going on with himself. So, we talked a little bit, and we talked about fear. We talked about anger. And depression, and I told him the levels and how it operates, and it was like, you have a lot of sadness. And the thing, we were talking, he was talking. He said, he he wants to help people. He just, he's going to school. He's trying to go to a school, go trade tech or something like that. He wants to work in HVAC. And so, we were just having a conversation, and he was talking about, what he's doing and what he wants to do and what he truly enjoys. And everything that he mentioned was actually helping someone else. He was like, yeah, I like helping, I like, he goes, I wish I had money so I can help, homeless people. I like, helping out, to make change. And I'm like, this guy, he's like, he said, I'm sensitive like that, and I go, part of the issue, I think I told him he's sensitive. And he was like, yeah. He goes, I feel stuff. And he goes, sometimes I wish I did. And I go, don't ever wish that. Because you're in touch with something that most people cut off. And that's what you're attempting to do, is cut it off. And that's what depression is you don't want to feel anything anymore. And so we were just having a conversation, about different things. And he just felt defeated, and I told him, the reason why you're feeling this is because you have so many emotions from, growing up that are painful, and you don't want to feel them. I go, but the problem is you're a sensitive person and you are feeling them. So the problem is you're not experiencing them. And he goes, and I told him straight out, I go, you know what? You don't cry. He goes, I don't, man. He was Hispanic. He said, man, you're right, I don't cry. He goes, I gotta, be strong. I go, well, that's the problem. What you're trying to do is be strong, but at the same time, you're not allowing your soul to let go of these painful experiences that you're experiencing. So you're locking them within your soul. He goes, I know. He goes, it's hard. And then he said his baby mama won't let him see his son, and that's really painful because he wants to see his son, his son. And then he talked about suicide, and he was really actually thinking about committing suicide in order to get back at the mom, to prove to the mom. It's like he wanted to commit suicide to prove to the baby's mom that, wow, look what I did, look at the pain that I caused by keeping my son away from his dad. And I'm like, whoa. I go, I was like, I didn't respond like that. I said, but what, he couldn't understand why she was doing it. But he had mentioned that he cheated on her and stuff like that. I said, well, she's trying to hurt you like you hurt her. That's what she's doing, and she's doing a pretty good job of it, because now you're over here, thinking of taking your life. But understand, your focus is he has so much rage and anger towards her. He's not even thinking about what taking his life would do to his son. And so we had that kind of conversation. But I say that to say this. Experience the emotions that you are having within your soul. Don't block them. We don't want to, emotions are powerful, because that's the thing, is emotions affect the body. So this, just as you can have butterflies in your stomach, it can make you cry, it can make you shake, it can make you feel like you're not in control of your body, and you're not. And that's the whole point. The whole point is to release it so you're not in control anymore, and you're surrendering to the emotions, and you're allowing it to flow. Trust me, if your body's shaking, you're going to be crying. That's the whole point, to experience the emotion, to let it out. Because the alternative is keeping it in and having these feelings that you don't want to feel, and having to go way out of your way to create different feelings just to ignore the ones that are being generated from the emotions that you don't want to release. Do you understand? You got to let this stuff go. It's controlling your life in ways you don't even understand. You don't see it. So all these women who are doing all these things to change their physical appearance, and the makeup, and they're hiding. That's what makeup does, is it conceals your concealers. It conceals who you are. That's what makeup does. It conceals you, so you don't see what you don't want to see. You understand? And that's what we do. We do all these different things to hide ourselves from ourselves and others so that we don't feel a certain way. I am loving this traffic today. I mean, we are flowing. Woo! We are flowing. But I hope I don't throw myself right into a speed trap. Okay, that'll stop my flow. Anyway, look, lady. So yeah, get into it. Feel it, feel it. Oh my gosh. So experience your emotions. Don't live in them. You understand? When you experience the emotion, it's gonna be like in full effect. You're gonna start crying, which is a physical experience. Crying is a physical experience. That's how you know you're going to access, or you're accessing these emotions that are within you. And once you're accessing them, it's almost like emotions are fuel. It's like emotions are fuel for the body. And when you cry, you're burning that fuel. All right? But here's the thing. Once the emotions are gone, there's no more fuel to burn. That's it. That is it. That's how it works. Emotions are the fuel for your tears of pain. Because you can have tears of joy, but we're talking about painful emotions. We're not talking about joyful emotions. Alright? And it's the same thing with joyful emotions. You can have joyful emotions all the time, but you're not crying every day, all day. But there are times where you'll have so much joy, you will cry. The emotions within you that are so positive, you're like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. You know? But there's a flip side to that, but we won't get into that. But anyway, let's stick to the painful emotions. Experience it. Allow the body to feel it. Because if you don't, you're just going to feel the emotions that are trapped in there. You're not going to feel it physically. You're just going to feel it in terms of the brain interpreting it as defeat, as a pain. It's going to be a long-lasting, and that's the thing about this. You will feel the effects of your emotions if you leave them in there. But the effects of those emotions, by holding them in, is going to reflect in your experience, in your life experience. So you're going to feel defeated, you're going to feel sad, you're going to feel alone, you're going to feel isolated. These are the results of holding on to your emotions. You understand? These are the feelings that you're going to be having. The feelings that no one cares. You know, you're going to feel like I said, you're alone. Just these negative, dark feelings. And then, you know, the anger. You don't want these feelings. So, but that's the alternative to not releasing them. And this is if you look all around the world, that's what people experience. The anger, the hatred, the fear, feeling terrorized. I mean, it's all of these feelings are normal in everyday life. Fearful of losing something, feeling, you know, the feeling of lack. It's crazy. That's what the world is feeling. They're feeling the results of holding on to those emotions. That's what happens. But as you experience the emotions physically within yourself, you don't have to experience it externally. That is the difference. If you experience the emotions yourself and feel the emotions yourself, that means it doesn't have to be reflected back at you. that means that nobody else has to experience them but you. You understand? So when people are angry, they're going to lash out and hurt someone else. Why? Because they don't want to experience the pain of their emotions. You get it? That's what's happening. So simple. Oh my gosh, it's so simple. Now that I see it. I didn't see it before. I had no clue. But, I made it a point. These are things I wanted to know. I had a desire for it. There were just questions that I had. But I had a true desire to have these questions answered. And so I have intellectually absorbed this information because it has been presented to me, but only because I asked for it. Only because I asked for it. Ask and you shall receive. And so, interestingly enough, people ask for clarity all the time. But they don't accept it. It's like asking for ice cream and then say, no, I don't want it. Oh, I want some ice cream. No, I don't want it. I want some ice cream. No, I don't want it. I want some of this. No, I don't want it. That's basically, oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many times truth has been presented to me over the years, and I didn't want to see it. I asked for it, but I didn't want to accept it, I should say. I saw it, but it wasn't something I wanted to be a part of. I thought I did, but something else had more importance. So, it's, my goodness. Feel it, experience it. Don't just live in it, Don't live in the misery. Experience the pain so that you don't have to experience the misery, Experience the pain from the emotions that you hold within your soul that is tied to an experience that you've had. Your dark emotions, your painful emotions come from an experience that you did not take kindly to, and you didn't let that out. You didn't experience the pain of it. You're just like, I don't want to feel that, because you weren't honoring your soul. That's all it is. If our soul is experiencing pain, like experiencing something, so basically your soul is saying, okay, I'm having this experience and I don't like it. I just don't like it. And then you're like, all right, but you're not going to feel it. I'm not going to allow you to do that. I don't want to feel that. I don't want the brain is like, I don't want to experience that. So I can't allow you to let that out. I can't allow you to be experienced. Nope. Sorry. Can't. Boop. Put a cap on it. Push it to the side. And that just keeps happening throughout your life. And then by the time you get to, adulthood, you're all jacked up. Oh my gosh, you're all jacked up. Because you spent decades bottling up this stuff and preserving it in your cellar down there. And it's like, no, I gotta come out. And you won't let it. You won't let it. And so, all of those bottles of emotions. So if you can picture one emotion in a bottle with the cap on it, stuck in your soul, at some point, all of that is going to be reflected to you. Each emotion, each experience that generates an emotion within the soul that you don't want to feel is reflected to you in your life. So anytime you see people having a jacked up life, you automatically know that they have a bunch of emotions that they're not acknowledging. That's it. I mean, you can have all the money in the world and still have a jacked up life. You'll have failed relationships, business deals will go bad, all kinds of things. Things won't go your way, your body will start falling apart. That's a big one. All these, oh my gosh. Money can only do so much for so long. And then after that, it's like once you reach the extent of what you can do in terms of circumventing God's laws, it's like, all right, You know, it's it's like man tries to do all kinds of things to circumvent God's laws. But the problem with that is God's laws will always win. Always win. Always win. And the thing with that, like, I'm not a Bible thumper. There's some truth in the Bible, and there's some lies in it too. But people used to live a lot longer than they do now. This is part of God's laws. You know, if you are loving, then you will be able to experience life. It's like if you the thing is, life can be great here. It can be absolutely amazing, right? And we can live for hundreds of years. That is a potential. And it was back in the day. It was an actual thing. We lived hundreds of years, or humanity has lived hundreds of years, or man has lived hundreds of years. And because of the continued degradation of our soul, meaning the unloving things that we continually held within it, it shortened our lifespan. And it brought us closer to death. And if you're not aware of what happens when we die, we're faced with our truth. We no longer have the illusions that I was talking about yesterday. We're able to create all kinds of illusions now. And that's what medicine does today. That's what the medical profession does. Is they create they create what do they create? Oh my gosh. Brain fog. Part of it too right there. They create things to circumvent our experience. That's it. You don't want to feel bad? Here, have some chocolate. Don't want to feel bad? Here, have a cup of coffee. Don't want to feel bad? Here, have some sex. Hey, don't want to feel bad? Here, have this. Don't want to feel bad? Have that. Understand? And so, man has tried to, circumvent laws, God's laws. And it can only do that for so long. But like I said, we're dying earlier. It's happening much sooner than it had before in the past. And what happens is we end up facing our truth. You understand? So God speeds up. It's like God's laws will speed up the process so you can see what you're doing. It's going to be reflected to you sooner than later. Back, when people used to live, hundreds of years, since they weren't in such a degraded state, that didn't have to be reflected to them as much, as quickly as it has to now. It's like the penalty must be experienced quickly now because there's so much in the soul. The soul was never designed to live with such unloving things within it. The whole purpose of the soul was to have love, so that we can have an experience that is joyful, that is happy. So we can have those good emotions rather than the bad ones. We can experience life, experience our joyful emotions, and feel those physically instead of the bad ones and feeling those physically. So, that's the thing is, like, they're corrective laws. And the corrective penalties have to be felt much more quickly in order to get us back on track. But we are in such a state where we just want to ignore everything. This goes back to Adam and Eve, or Amon and Aman, when they chose self-reliance. That's it. They wanted to do it on their own. And that's what we're doing it on our own. And look how long it's taking. And in fact, it's getting worse because we want to do it on our own. All we have to do is ask for help. Like, the stuff that I'm talking about, I asked for it. I asked for help. I wanted to know. I wanted to get out of I didn't want to feel certain things. I wanted to know why I was feeling them. I've always wanted to know why. I think most children want to know why. Until the parent says, stop asking so many questions. See? Then we feel a certain kind of way, like we're not supposed to ask questions. Which is why we don't ask questions. We don't ask our parents questions because they didn't want to answer them. They didn't have the answers for some of it, and the other thing, they didn't want to even be bothered with it for the most part. Most parents don't want to be bothered with their children. They want their children to behave. You know, there's no interaction. There are very few parents who want to interact with their children. But mostly they get on their nerves. Anyway, so allow yourself to feel these emotions. Experience them. Feel them physically. Feel them physically. Don't just go with your feelings. Your feelings are generated by the mind. It's the mind's interpretation of the emotions that are within the soul. You hear me? That's what it is. That's what it is. Feel. Let a tear come out every now and again. Let it happen. Let it happen. Oh my gosh. So yeah, there you have it. I thought this video was going to be short. I lied. I was not being truthful. Oh my gosh. I thought it was though. So I didn't lie on purpose. The circumstances have changed. How's that? Yeah. That's it. That's it, people. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I think today's Thursday. Only one more day. Oh, it's flying by. It is flying by. Look, this year's gonna go by faster than the last one. Anyway, have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll think of something. All right, take care now. Bye.